Welcome to the deep dive. So today, forget the usual pile of articles. We're really zeroing in on just one specific work.
Okay.
It's called The Great Thing About Capitalism, Empowering Your Life Through Innovation, Freedom, and Growth.
Mm.
The author is Obsidian Freeman, and it's published by Fazioli Publishing.
Right. I've heard of this one. Interesting angle.
Exactly. And look, before you think, oh, great dry economics, hold on. Our mission here is really to pull out the powerful principles Freeman discusses and see how you can actually use them, to boost your own personal growth. We're talking health, wealth, everything.
So making it practical, personal.
Totally. We want to give you those aha moments, the real takeaways, but without, making your head spin.
Yeah, bridging that gap between big economic ideas and, well, everyday life. It's fascinating how these sort of macro forces Freeman talks about, how they can actually play out on a personal level. It's about seeing those underlying drivers of progress and then figuring out, okay, how do I apply that?
Okay, let's dive right in then. First up, innovation. Freeman's argument is that capitalism's profit motive. It's like this huge engine, right?
Yeah, ever, yeah.
For new ideas, better tech, smarter ways of doing things. So how can someone listening, how can you tap into that in your own life?
Well, Freeman's main point, I think, is you've got to adopt that innovative mindset yourself.
Okay.
Think about those little friction points or problems you run into, maybe at work or if you run a business or even just, I don't know, projects around the house.
Right. Don't just live with them.
Exactly. Don't just accept them.
Yeah.
Actively look for better ways, better solutions. Freeman even suggests that real innovation sometimes comes from spotting needs people don't even know they have yet.
So creating value in a new way.
Precisely. Opening up totally new possibilities. The core idea is pretty simple, really. The more value you bring, whatever the situation, the more opportunities tend to, well, come your way.
That's a great way to put it. Not just fixing things, but finding new avenues. Okay, so the next big principle Freeman hits on is individual freedom.
Yeah.
That idea that you can chase your passions, start that thing you've been thinking about, invest your money where your values are.
Then this is where it gets really personal, right? Where that sense of empowerment kicks in. Capitalism ideally puts you, in charge.
Driver's seat.
Yeah. Freeman kind of challenges you to look hard at where you are now. Is your job, your business, is it really lining up with what you actually want? Your goals, your values?
So it's more than just having options.
Much more. It's about using that freedom, actively steering your life where you want it to go. It's like an invitation, really. Take ownership. And hey, if things aren't right, pivot, change course, build something that actually means something to you.
Being the architect, not just renting space in your own life. I like that. Then Freeman gets into efficient resource allocation, how the market, ideally sends resources where they're valued most, cutting down waste. How does that apply personally?
Well, think about your own key resources. What are they? Time, money, energy, right?
Yeah, the big three.
Are you deploying them efficiently to get the best sort of personal return? Freeman might say, think of your time like an investment portfolio, a limited one.
Okay, interesting analogy.
Are you putting your hours into things that give you the best yield towards your goals? Or are some assets just lagging, underperforming?
Makes you think.
Just like the market tends to sort things out over time, we can learn to spot and, cut out the waste in our own lives, focus on what actually pushes you forward, financially, personally, health-wise, whatever it is.
That portfolio analogy really clicks.
Okay.
Next, economic growth, prosperity. That whole cycle. Freeman describes businesses grow, create jobs.
Right. The ripple effect.
And he suggests we can tap into that by, keeping an eye on growing industries and markets.
Absolutely. Just having a basic awareness of the economic landscape, seeing where the growth is, it helps you position yourself.
You don't need to be an economist.
No, not at all. Just, paying attention to broader trends. It can help you spot fields where your skills, your interests might suddenly be way more valuable.
So it's proactive.
Totally proactive. A way to work towards improving your own situation, your standard of living.
Which ties nicely into the next point, wealth-building opportunities. Freeman says capitalism rewards risk takers, hard workers.
Yeah, through things like entrepreneurship, investing.
Right. So what are some concrete ways, for the listener to actually start doing that?
Well, Freeman gets pretty practical here. He talks about exploring side hustles, maybe.
Okay.
Looking into different ways to invest, even just boosting your financial literacy, that's fundamental.
Just understanding money better?
Exactly. It's often about being willing to, step outside your comfort zone a bit, take some smart risks, dedicate time to learning about finance. These things aren't just for the experts anymore. They're way more accessible now if you're willing to make the effort.
Good point. Now, something that really stood out to me was Freeman's focus on adaptability, being able to roll with the changes.
Oh, that's huge.
He links it to how capitalism itself is inherently flexible. So how do we build that flexibility, that resilience in ourselves?
Yeah, it's critical today, isn't it? Things shift so fast. Freeman basically says, be a lifelong learner.
Keep learning new stuff.
Keep learning, embrace new tech, don't be afraid of change, keep an open mind. Think of it like building your own personal shock absorbers. If you're adaptable, you're just much better placed to handle the unexpected bumps and also to grab opportunities that pop up because things are changing.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about how fast AI and automation are moving. Someone who maybe decided, say, 5 years ago, just to learn some basic coding, even if it wasn't for their job then, they probably found themselves way ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah.
With unexpected advantages now. That's personal adaptability mirroring the market's shifts.
That's a really clear example. Okay, then there's empowerment through choice.
Right.
With all the options out there, products, services, career paths, Freeman says we have this power to make choices that line up with our values. How do we get more intentional about that?
It really comes down to being a conscious consumer, but in the widest sense.
Not just buying stuff.
Not just buying stuff, no. It's also how you spend your time, where you put your energy. Are you making deliberate choices that reflect what actually matters to you?
Like supporting certain businesses.
Yeah, or maybe dedicating time to relationships that matter, or investing in your health. When your choices line up with your values, Freeman argues that leads to greater satisfaction, deeper fulfillment.
So pulling it all together, the big message from Freeman seems to be that success within this kind of framework isn't just luck.
No, not at all.
It's really about your effort, your creativity, the value you create, taking the initiative, making a real contribution.
Exactly. It's about having a proactive stance, not passive. And Freeman actually gives some pretty solid tips on how to, put this stuff into practice.
Like a how-to.
Sort of. He says, actively look for problems to solve. That's embracing innovation. He really pushes investing in yourself, continuous learning. He says, if you're thinking entrepreneurship, start small, get savvy about your finances. That's crucial. Use your freedom to chase what genuinely motivates you.
Right.
Be adaptable, keep growing. And like we just discussed, prioritize your choices consciously. Make them intentional.
So this isn't just high-level theory then.
Yeah.
Freeman's giving like a real framework, applying these capitalist ideas to get more control over your life.
Yeah, whether that's in your career, your finances, even your health, your well-being.
Covers a lot of ground.
It does. His argument, ultimately, is that this mindset, rooted in these core capitalist principles can be a really powerful tool for personal empowerment, personal growth across your whole life.
That is a compelling way to look at it.
No.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, we've really explored how these core ideas of capitalism, they go way beyond just economics, don't they?
Absolutely.
They offer a powerful lens, maybe, for thinking about your own growth, creating opportunities for yourself.
And look, if this conversation sparks something for you, we definitely recommend checking out the source. Obsidian, A. Freeman's The Great Thing About Capitalism, Empowering Your Life Through Innovation, Freedom, and Growth. It's from Facioli Publishing.
Right. Good reminder. Now, for that final thought to mull over.
Okay.
Think of just one area of your life right now. Could be career, money, health, family, whatever. And pick just one of the principles we talked about today from Freeman.
Just one?
Yeah. Innovation, freedom, efficiency, adaptability, choice. What's one small, concrete step you could take, maybe even today or tomorrow, to apply that specific principle in that specific area? How can it start a positive change?
Making it actionable.
Exactly. It's about taking these ideas from our deep dive and actually putting them to work for you in your own way.
Thanks for tuning in.